goodwill, brand, like a logo or anything like that, copyright, these sorts of things, can we consider that as a wealth, something that is subject matter of a contract? Yeah, so even though it is not sort of something that is tangible, but we still can specify it. And by laws of society, which we call urf, you see something accepted in society as a wealth, it is accepted by us as well to be part of the wealth. So copyrights and things like that, they are part of the wealth. They can be specified and they can make a subject matter of the contract. Delivery of the subject matter. So the Prophet ﷺ said also, he who buys foodstuff should not sell it unless he has taken possession of it. Okay, so let's say, for example, we are buying the house. Okay, how do we take a possession of the house? So you come, you have a contract, we have two parties. He said, here's the house, here's the money. How do I do? I need to bring the house. Or, of course, when it comes to immovable objects, any kind of document that shows the transfer of ownership is sufficient. But if the object is, let's say, movable, okay, then we need to have like a more sort of constructive possession. For instance, a car, let's say, okay. Now the car, let's say I sell you the car, but it's in my garage. So I bring you the key, I bring you the contracts, here's the car, here's the key, we sign the paper, but you don't have an access to the car. It's in my garage or somewhere locked. Is this a proper contract? Did we execute the right contract? Can we agree on that? No, we can't, because here I don't have uninterrupted access to the car. So this contract is not fully proper contract. For this contract to be valid, I need to have uninterrupted access to that car. Okay? Now, we can have then three basic types of contracts. Okay? Number one, what's the most basic contract that you can have?
Exchange of benefit.
Yeah, so for example, it could be exchange of benefit, which, what is that called when you are selling benefit? Manfa'a in Arabic.
Yes.
What is the benefit? What is that contract called when you give benefit for some money? Yeah, it could be service, could be leasing. So any kind of lease, ijara type contracts which lease, where you sell a benefit, a right to use something. Okay? So that's one possible contract. I was more targeting normal sale first. So you go purchase something for the money. Now, let's say I'm selling you this iPhone, that is a subject matter. What you're giving me is money, that is, we call it consideration. Now you can give me money now, we call that spot, okay, on the spot, hand to hand. Or you can give me money later on. We call this credit sale or deferred sale, okay. For some items, it's okay to have a credit sale, not for everything. For example, let's say now, we have auction here, okay? So somebody donates a ring. Sister, she threw a ring to us to auction it here. So we auction it for the center ring. Who wants to buy this ring? Okay? Now, your brother says $500. I say, fine, here's the ring. Give me money tomorrow. This is not allowed by Sharia, okay? When you buy gold for money or something like that, go for gold or go for money, the Prophet ﷺ told us this must be on the spot. So you must pay immediately. You can't pay on credit, things like that. Okay? So for example, what is the solution in this case? That person should borrow some money, or the center should give him, for example, some money, and he should buy money with his money what he needs. Okay? So the purchase of a sale contract is the most basic type of contract. What happens in a sale contract? Ownership is immediately transferred to you. I'm now the owner of the asset. In a sale contract, transfer is instantaneous, okay, at the time of purchase, even if you are paying later. So for example, let's say I'm buying the car from you. We agree this is a $10,000. I give you the car. You don't have money now. You will pay me in installments. What we call this? This is called, anybody know? What we call this contract specifically? This called murabaha. So when you pay in installments, it's permissible, okay? You are immediately switching ownership with that person. So now he owns the car, although he's paying you in installment, and you become owner of that money that is coming on, okay? We have leasing. Leasing is a little bit different than sale. In a leasing, you retain your ownership. What you are giving or selling, what is it? Benefit. So for example, let's say we are leasing now this room. What is the subject matter of the contract? What they call in English, usufruct. Right to use this property for a period of time, or manfa, okay? And the loan. Loan is a type of a contract where you give temporarily something to someone, okay? Now, as a result, this is very important also rule that if the subject matter does not have usufruct, it cannot be leased. So anything that you have to spend or use or have to destroy or consume, it cannot be subject matter of a lease. Like for example, food. You cannot lease food, okay, or a petrol or something like that. You have to consume it, okay? So that cannot be subject matter of the lease. As a result of the contract, whether it's sale or lease, we will establish or change ownership, okay? So originally I start as an owner of a house, then I sell you house on the spot or in deferred payment. Ownership is immediately transferred, okay? So we have three basic results of the contract, and that is the ownership. First is one of the asset, of a debt, or of a usufruct, right to use something. So depending which contract we engage, so initially if I sell you the house, I was initially owner of an asset. When I sell you the house, and let's say you're paying in installment, I become owner of a debt, dain. So that is like a money, okay? For instance, let me give you an example. Let's say I'm renting a house from you. Am I the owner? If I'm renting the house from you, we enter into the contract of a lease. I'm renting the house from you. Am I the owner? No. Are you the owner? Okay. Who has full ownership? Original owner? Anyone else? Lessee? Lesser? Anyone else? It's a bit tricky question. No one has full ownership. How? Okay, I'm leasing the house. Can you just walk into the house? So you are the owner, but you can't just walk into the house because you sold me temporarily the right to use it. So when we say full ownership, it should include the right to use it and the ownership of the asset itself. Okay? As a result, when we are writing these contracts, result in terms of risk and liability could be such that these contracts that we write are then classified in three basic categories, result of these contracts. And most of the scholars only classify it in the two, which is sahih or batil, so valid and invalid contract. So that's a normal classification. But there is between them, mainly in the Hanafi school of thought, there is like contract is kind of voidable, fasid. This kind of a contract's like on the pause. There is something little bit problematic, but in general, that can be removed. So in first case, when contract is found to be valid, all of the key elements of the contracts are found to be in order. When it is batil, then there is some essential contract element that is missing. And in case of the voidable, it could be some non-essential items. Like, for example, you're purchasing the car and you didn't specify the color in the contract. Okay, so still contract, we can fix that contract. But if there is a major problem, let's say I put in the contract that I will lease you my car if you sell me something. Okay, so now we have a violation of one particular rule where the Prophet ﷺ told us that we should not have two contracts that are contingent on each other in the same contract. Here we don't know what's going on, why you are selling or leasing. You know, it could be something dodgy going on. So we should not have two issues leaning on each other in the contract. Okay. Conditions within the contract. Prophet ﷺ stated that Muslims must keep to the conditions they make, except for a condition that makes something prohibited lawful or something lawful prohibited. Okay? Now, when we talk about these conditions, let me give you some of the examples of the permissible. Let's say you are entering into the lease contract. The owner may require a security deposit until the item is returned, or that you will give something as a proof of your ID. Okay? If you are entering into a car lease agreement, the lessor of a car may have a condition for a lessee not to drive it off-road. So these are some of the conditions which we can have. As long as they don't violate the Sharia in some way, we can have some of these. Unlawful conditions, okay, as we said that you specify late penalties, for example, late penalties and such and such. Why late penalties are problematic? Because they represent a debt. Okay, so when you have a debt, somebody owes you $100, that is like a money. So if you increase that and you benefit